lady singing. And that means what it do. Snack with Snack S and Snack X. It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Sending Jokes, and you are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And
Today,
we're going to talk about The Last of Us Season 2. We'll talk about the new Marvel and DC crossover that's coming. We're going to talk about what's happening with Hollywood films and writers and so forth. And probably most importantly, we're going to talk about mental health and pop culture. And that's what's on the. What up, Cuddy? What up, Doctor Who? Long time no see. Good to see you. Um, Jokes.
mm-hmm.
You have a job to do.
Yup.
What Jokes is doing currently is getting our Beacons link up for you. So you can follow us, social media, everywhere. Now, I'm going to tell you the Beacons link is kind of going away. Kind of. By this time next week, new link. That's the plan anyway. That is the plan. Hopefully that works out the way it's supposed to. What's up, Heather? Sin, you got a job to do.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
We absolutely do. Patreon really is the best way to support us. So we want to thank everybody who is supporting us there. Again, really, really helpful though when you hit share and you hit like and you subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it if you would shoot over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and search for the Loading Snacks podcasts that are there. This show, along with our other shows, are available there. So go in there and giving us a follow and a like, a review, some stars, would really be helpful. For those of you who are uninitiated, we have kind of switched formats on Loading Snacks Movie Club. So yesterday, the movie club discussion for the movie Bright for the month of May did go live. It was pre-recorded. We are no longer doing that show specifically live. And the reason for that is really more along just kind of struggling as a group to be able to get everybody together so that we can have really good discussions with multiple people. We've kind of struggled since the beginning of the year trying to make sure that at least all the admins were available for us to make sure that we have discussions that kind of touch on everything. And so in order to kind of try to make sure we could do that, it's become easier to try scheduling that outside of that one singular day at the end of the month, where it just seemed to be really tough to get a hold of everybody. So we're trying something different. We're scheduling outside of that time frame so that we can get it recorded. And that way we get to hear more voices and make sure we get, some differing opinions and so forth. And we'll just upload on the final Monday of the month.
Correct.
And we're going to see how that works out. So it's live now on YouTube. If you would like to go and check it out, you can do that. Or on Spotify, if that makes it easier, you could do that as well. Now, Sin.
Yo.
The Last of Us Season 2.
Yes.
Finale was this weekend.
Okay.
How much of this show have you watched?
Are we including season 1?
No.
so none then.
Why?
I haven't had time to get to it, to be honest. That's all.
I mean, haven't had time versus it's not important enough are two very different things. Because you make time if you really want to. You had time for Andor.
Yeah, because I knew we solidly just said we were going to do one for Andor because there was so much stuff happening and coming up. So like, all right, let me at least make sure I definitely finish Andor. So when did that?
Andor just was really good.
It was.
Some of us did not make time for Andor, even though we said we were going to talk about it, discuss it. Like, some of us just didn't.
I couldn't stop once it got started.
Hey, bro.
It was too good.
um, Jokes, have you watched any of Last of Us season 2?
Not at all.
None. Not even a single episode.
Not at all.
Okay. Why?
Honestly,
you enjoyed the first season, right?
oh yeah, no, I enjoyed the first season. So one, I don't have Max anymore. Sacrifice Max. So that was
Max doesn't exist anymore. It's
Oh,
called
excuse me.
HBO Max, sir.
HBO Max. So, but otherwise, yeah, that's really the main reason. I was gonna end up at the end of the season. Probably, I'm gonna end up just binging it, give them money for a month, and just watch it all in its entirety.
Well, the season is over,
Mm-hmm.
so if that's the plan,
Felt quick.
you could just.
I mean, wasn't it only like what 9 episodes?
I don't know. I only watched like the first 2 episodes. Here's what I think. So, viewership was down by like 30% for the season finale. It still had like 3.7 million viewers, but the first episode, when the season started, had like 5.3.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a couple things that people seem to think are the issue, but Cuddy said, have neither of them played the game or liked the game enough to care about the show?
I played the first one and beat it while I was watching the first season. I've never got the second game yet. So
Beat the first one. I think I played about halfway through the second one.
Here's the thing. Cuddy, while I think that's a great question, the only reason why I didn't ask it is because I don't know that you need to play the game.
7 episodes for the second season.
I don't know that you need to play the game to be interested in the second season. Like, if you like the first season and you want to know what's happening or what's going to happen, and we also kind of had discussed previously that like second season and third season, which are really only following one game, are probably not going to follow the game directly. Right. So like if you watch, and there are things that happen in the first season that definitely aren't in the game. So, as highly rated as the first season was, and as much as we all liked it, it should not have needed, at least in my opinion, for you to play the second game in order to want to watch the second season. What's up? So I think that's interesting. I also think that the majority of people who probably watched it on HBO like that, I think a lot of those people were not people who played the game. I think there are a lot of people who did buy and play the game after the fact. And I do think that Sony and Naughty Dog maybe were looking at that to generate sales for the second game, and or expecting that this season would then do the same thing and make people want to go play the second game. However, because you haven't completed the story from the second game, if you were to start playing the second game now, you'd end up ahead of where the series is, or you know what I mean? And now you're spoiling it for yourself. So I think that's actually part of the problem. So I think that for people who are fans of the game, there's no real reason to rush to watch this or rush to get to the end of the season, because it's not the end of the story / end of the game. They are ending it somewhere in the middle of the game. And so if you're already familiar, even if it's really good, it's not really the end. And you're going to have to wait until whenever they do the next season to technically get that ending. Where the first season was the same as the definitive ending of the first game. I think that has a lot to do with it. The second thing I think could have a major effect is that this the end of the second season came on the Sunday before Memorial Day. And I just think people are doing other things. Like not
True.
worried about being home and watching The Last of Us. They're at a cookout or getting ready for a cookout or out because this really like this
Yeah.
is the holiday that technically signifies the start of summer. And
Mhm.
so like being in and watching HBO at 9 o'clock at night, I don't know that I don't think that what they did with the second season made people feel like, oh, I need to be
You can
home.
watch this right now. Yeah.
Right.
So I do think that there's a high possibility that like maybe this time next week or in 2 weeks, people will be, better. Andrew says, "What's up, guys? Hope y'all had a fantastic Memorial Day." Andrew, I had a safe Memorial Day. Somebody fed me for free, but I was definitely at work. So,
Same
so
here.
I hope you had a safe and wonderful Memorial Day. Alfonso, what up, bro? Yeah, I think that might be a good portion of what it is. But
That could
there's
definitely
also
be a part of it.
whatever they didn't do was enough that it didn't make you.
And it begins. I wasn't even seeing
Didn't do
anything
it.
about it. I wasn't seeing anything about it on my timeline anywhere.
Yeah, but I guess like if
Oh,
Fine.
try this again. We'll be back in a quick second, just getting things back to where they used to be.
Wayne Tech.
it's not Wayne Tech, that's Syntech, that's streaming from the same account issue that needs to be fixed. We'll get to it. But whatever it is they didn't do,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. They didn't do it well enough that it didn't make any of us. Again, I watched the first 2 episodes,
Mhm.
but after that, I was like, they weren't even dropping on the same night. But I was like, I'm watching Andor.
Right.
I got locked in on that one. Too much is happening.
Here's the other thing I think, and I've been hearing some of this, and you can tell me whether or not you think it matters. You guys didn't watch, so But I also think that for the uninitiated, all right, spoilers for The Last of Us. Wait, neither one of you have played the second game either, right?
No, I don't have the same game.
I haven't finished it. I know if you're talking about like end of the game, I already know what happens. I don't know about Sin though.
I know nothing.
No, that's an understatement. Now, nah, like, it would be a spoiler for me to say the other reason why I think it's not working. So
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that. What's up, man? So I won't do that. Look, technically season 2 is still averaging per episode more
Mhm.
viewers than the first season did.
Okay.
Okay.
Or the finale didn't quite hit it. So, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out in the long run. I think it's gonna be all right. Jokes.
Mhm.
It's been a long time since Marvel and DC and Marvel had a crossover event.
Yes.
And they made an announcement that was kind of cryptic. a few months ago. We knew there was something coming. We just didn't know exactly what. And well, we got an announcement today. Deadpool Batman or Batman Deadpool, as it were. Um, you have any info on this?
Not so much, other than just a little bit that we got of them announcing, just like you said, the crossover that DC and Marvel's partnering back up. Um, but outside of that, I don't think they gave too much of a synopsis on the story or anything like that as of just yet for it. Um, Batman and Deadpool as a duo or whatever combination is certainly interesting.
I mean, listen, you're not wrong. So for the Marvel side, it's a it's a one shot coming from both. So Marvel's one shot is coming September 17th. Um, Zeb Wells is writing. Greg Capullo is doing the art, and the synopsis for that story is that Deadpool, Wade Wilson specifically, takes a job that happens in Gotham, and that is going to put him in Batman's crosshairs. I don't. Batman can't beat Deadpool, so like, and he certainly can't prepare for him.
Hey, listen, I'm waiting for those jokes. I'm not gonna give you no prep time.
You know what I'm saying? There will be additional what they're calling backup adventures.
Okay.
Yeah, Andrew, a Deathstroke Deadpool joke is imminent. It's definitely happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are going to be other team ups. There will be backup stories. They haven't said what any of that is. The Batman Deadpool crossover by DC is being penned by Grant Morrison, which is pretty major. Dan Mora is doing the art. It's not set to arrive until November. And the same thing, there's going to be additional adventures, you know, that will have other crossovers, but they're not going to be the main thing. And then what they did say is that there are additional one-shot crossovers scheduled for next year for 2026, but they did not announce what they are or, you know, how they're going to work out. So, I mean, look, I think the last DC crossover was the Amalgam crossover in like 96, 97, something like that. And that was a versus crossover first that then ended up becoming like a combo crossover. That's where we got like Dark Claw, which was Wolverine and Batman as one character and stuff like that. So I think it'll be cool to see. I think that there's so much for them now, and there are a lot of new characters, you know what I mean, since then. So I think there could be some. Is there a specific crossover, Jokes, that you'd like to see? Like two specific characters you would like to see them put at the forefront?
What was the question again? You kind of broke up.
He was asking like one specific like that I would be looking forward to. Honestly, you know, it's funny. I think Batman Deadpool, but I would have think like Batman Iron Man. I feel like kind of would be like a kind of an interesting take for us to see, you know, the two probably wealthiest people in their worlds, kind of the similar concept out of it. So I feel like that could be an interesting partake that they could do. But outside of that, it would be, I feel like some of the typical what you think. I feel like Superman, Captain America probably would be the type of partnership that you would do.
Heather said, "I hope Deadpool calls Batman a fascist."
Listen, Deadpool
Man,
gonna call Batman everything under the sun, probably.
man,
um,
yeah.
but outside of that, I feel
So
like you can
you're
take
pretty basic, dog. You don't have any dream crossovers. You've never
like
really.
right now, like just thinking, I was like, I don't have one that's just like I have to have this right now. Hey, actually, no, I'll take it back. You know what could be interesting? I don't. Nick Fury and Amanda Waller.
Okay.
Now I don't know if that's them just leading teams or if this is like I don't know. To have the two of them have to come together, I think that could be super interesting.
I
We're
mean,
terrifying.
yeah. I mean, I could see that. What about you, Sam? Who would you want to see them?
There's nobody
You
I
know,
can think of. I would like to see a crossover between. Nobody I can think of that like I would be that excited about to see. I'm trying to think of somebody, but there's so many characters to choose from between all the different X-Men, all the different Avengers, all the different Justice League members and teams and Teen Titans and Thunderbolts. Like it's so many people trying to choose. Yeah, I generally don't have anybody. I'm like dying to see a crossover between with Marvel and DC.
so you
They could
could
put something
really.
out there that piques my interest. Probably if I see like, oh, okay, that sounds like it'll be interesting. But there's nobody I can think of off the top of my head that I need to see these characters and these characters like in something together.
What does Batman Deadpool do for you?
I think it'll be when I think of buddy cop when I see it type of deal, and Deadpool just annoying the living hell out of Batman as he tried to solve a murder or something, and it'd be kind of entertaining and funny. That's the first thing I think about when I see it, something entertaining and funny between the two, because how not serious Deadpool is, and at some point they're gonna have a badass fight between them, and that's just the first thing I see when I see it. A cool
Who
fight
wins
and a
that
lot of jokes. Who? Batman's gonna pull it off somehow because he's Batman.
in both
But
in both stories?
it'll be Batman's gonna win one of them, and the other one's gonna be like a draw of some sort.
Oh, so
They're gonna
either
end up
way,
just
like Deadpool not taking a
I
not
think
winning.
so. I think
hey,
so.
listen, they're just gonna write in somehow that Batman already knew of Deadpool and all that, and no, he's the only person in the world that's figured out what Wade Wilson's weakness is
Right, something like that. Yeah,
to take
they're gonna
him out.
cheat. They're gonna cheat. They're gonna write it
It's
in
gonna cheat the
somehow.
system.
They're gonna write it in somehow.
That's definitely possible. Um, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, man. I'm kind of looking forward to them not fighting at all. Like just
Okay.
there being an approach and just kind of being like, "Where'd you come from?" It would actually be interesting to see him be like, "I don't know who you are or where you came from. You look and or seem a lot like somebody else, a
Mhm.
And I
Slade
would,
Wilson, you know what I mean, or something
I
like
would
that."
love to
But
see Deadpool though crack on his like Rose Gallery. I would love to see him get on them. Penguin, all of them. Joker, just talk trash about all of them.
does he
Like,
get to murder him? Because that's the thing is that like
Bat's gonna have
Deadpool
to
is
stop
such a
him.
murderer.
I feel like
Batman is just like,
Bat's
nah,
gonna stop him. Like
you know,
probably like because one of them starts, maybe Batman is going after one of his typical villains, but then Wade shows up for whatever reason, it just starts popping off, and Bat's like, we can't kill people. And Wade just looks at him like, the F you mean I can't kill nobody? So
Yeah, those would be some tense moments between the two. Because he's gonna go off and just do it. He ain't gonna wait for his permission.
that's what I'm saying. He's not gonna give Bats that, would take the time to, flesh out a situation, do that detective work. He's gonna have to worry about Wade just jumping in, just going in guns blazing while he's trying to like set the tone for something up for it. So
And Wade is gonna do that 100%.
he's much more Red Hood.
Yes, a lot more.
He's much more.
that'll be a comparison they'll bring up.
Yeah, I mean it'll
Red
be
Hood,
cool,
Red
man. Like
Hood.
I'm really only interested in it because it's a crossover. Like
Mhm.
you know what I mean. Like and I guess if you're gonna put two people together, like right now, I would say that Deadpool is the most important Marvel character,
Mhm.
and Batman probably is, at least until the Superman movie comes out in a couple of weeks. And then we'll see if that kind of flips a bit. But yeah, I think Deadpool might currently be the most popular and well known, like in and outside of comics, like Marvel character. So I think that it makes a lot of sense for those two characters to be the characters that they're like we're crossover and have them be, together, because that's the biggest draw. Like that, those are the two characters that are likely to sell the most books. You know what I mean? Having the two of them together. And so I think that's, I think it makes a lot of sense. So I mean, I don't generally pick up comic books like that anymore. Like I don't generally pick up physical books anymore, but I will pick.
But that's gonna be one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely pick this up. So, I might pick up two. You know how the rule, dog.
Oh yeah, one in the sleeve with the cardboard
One
behind
in
it.
the
Yep.
rule and one in the sleeve. That's the mantra right there.
Yep.
All right, so look, we've had, I don't even know how many conversations over the last, I don't even know how long, about the state of the entertainment industry as it applies to video games, as it applies to movies and streaming services, and whether movie theaters are going to make it and so forth. We talked a couple weeks ago about AMC starting to do Wednesdays at 50% off. John says you got to have a backup. That is absolutely right. Absolutely right. One to read and one in the sleeve, baby. Let's go. And I think we've come up with all kinds of reasoning, solutions, things that we thought might be ways that the industry, especially for movies and so forth, is going to save itself, or what might happen with it, so forth. What I didn't see coming was these new, like, mini streaming apps. So what's currently happening is there's been a shift, like a major shift in Hollywood just over the last few weeks, maybe the last few months, where a lot of shows aren't being greenlit. It's become increasingly difficult for even well-known writers, producers, directors to get stuff greenlit, for them to put money behind it. Again, we talked about how Sinners is like the first IP in almost 20 years, $200 million. First thing that wasn't a sequel to something else, right? And they've been very gun shy about greenlighting brand new things. It needs to already be a book. It needs to already be, like, the IP needs to exist somewhere in some way before we're even willing to greenlight it. And then generally we're just doing sequels. Like I'll be honest, man, like it's really difficult for me to get excited about another Jurassic Park movie at this point. Like I
feel the same way.
But like,
especially when it's the same, like we keep doing the same. Like, listen, you keep going back to the same island or the same place that you have no business being, and I'm just like, why do we keep doing
Keep rehashing it? Yep, keep rehashing it.
How do we? Why? Like, somebody nuked that joint, dog. Like,
straight up,
just wipe it
off. Just wipe it off. Just wipe it off the map. That's it.
Let's just get them out of here.
We don't need the joint. Get it out of here.
We did it. It failed multiple times. Be done with it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I seriously doubt either of you are familiar with. There's an app called Dramabox. So a Dramabox is an app that take like what TikTok is, but make it actual, like, movies, stories that are happening. Pick a story. A guy and a girl are in a fight about whatever. he's cheating on her, she's whatever. But like the movies, what you're getting are like a minute to 2 minutes, and then you gotta wait for like the next episode to get the next part of the story, and then you gotta wait for the next part of the story. So like if you've ever seen one of those things where like somebody's telling a story about something to say that happened to them and it's on TikTok, and you only get a certain amount of time. So the first one you see is like part 3, and you're like, hold tight. Now you're looking for part 1 or whatever. Whatever that was, somebody was like, yo, this works because people want to see it. It's getting millions of views. So basically what Dramabox is just that. They are basically soap operas, stories, dramatic, things like that, of all kinds of different titles, more or less all in the same kinds of drama, right? Same kind of genres, Hallmark kind of stuff and whatever. And you gotta be there to try to like, and it's doing crazy numbers. And so like Hollywood execs, writers, and people are leaving major Hollywood studios and going to work on stories on platforms like this. Okay. Let me just give you a little bit of a look. Zane said that's most of my FYP. They got these Chinese dramas on there, man.
I know the ones you're talking about, Zane. I see them all the flipping time. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's what I was thinking about the whole time.
It's a full-on like. So here's the thing. Dramabox is a short drama streaming app. It has seen revenue grow significantly this year, with estimates of earning close to $1 million a day from the App Store and Google Play. Last month, the app had 5 million downloads and generated $22 million in revenue. That's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money for like very short. So, and there's a free version of it that has ads and has whatever, but you don't get all the benefits. Like you can't like download certain episodes so that you can have them so they ready to go for you. Like it's certain things you can't do. Here's the thing, dog. There is a yearly subscription plan, but there's a subscription plan for this joint that is $10 a week.
And I can't save none of them or go back and rewatch them or nothing.
No, if you're doing the plan, then yeah.
Okay.
Damn, a week.
$10 a week, bro.
Content ain't that $5
a month.
Somebody it is.
Listen, people are doing this. Somewhere between what they're getting in subscriptions and what they are making in advertising, it is like, bro, like Tubi is working. Bro, make as much fun of it as you want. People talk about them, put little clips of whatever, how bad a lot of the movies are and stuff like that. That joint is working. It's free. Candace says the market is changing because people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. 100%.
Hey, that's facts.
It is just like, give me this quick. But here's the thing that's crazy about it. People will still spend hours in a row on the same app. But it feels like they're consuming something different because they're swiping and going to the next thing. And I might see something hilarious from this person here, and then I might see something dramatic from somebody here, and then I see something else, some kid. Man, yesterday I watched a video like 10 times in a row. This little boy's face hit a wall, dog. I couldn't help myself, bro. It might be like a 12-second clip.
Oh, but it felt
in
good.
slow-mo, bro.
Oh, but it felt
because
good.
Here's the thing, dog. Slim's face hits the wall and then slides down.
Straight cartoon mechanics.
It's hilarious, bro. We just gotten to a place where even the idea of sitting down and doing one thing for an elongated period of time, people will interrupt that thing that they're doing with their phone, pull their phone out, take pictures, pull their phone out to, jump on an app to whatever. And so they are taking advantage of the fact that that is the way that people choose to consume content now, and they will pay for it. And so now you also are adding in the fact that you have executives, people who are writers and have been writing the kinds of stories we have been generally going to the movies to see, watching TV to see, now choosing to pen these kinds of stories and getting paid. Like, they are being wooed away from like Hollywood to be able to do it and to write their own stuff and just have it go, like not really have the walls and stuff that are put up by other people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Courtney Wayne puts out hours and hours of minisodes on FB and YouTube every day. Every day.
Yep.
Country Wayne. Hey, listen, like I know it's serious when my mom is coming to me, and you watching this Country Wayne on, I'm just like, Mom, why do you know about Country Wayne?
Because she on Facebook.
I'm glad Zayn mentioned something about them Chinese dramas. I see them all the time, and for the longest time, I was like, "What are these fake ass little stories? Where are they coming from?" It's like these are not real.
So, like, it's a lot of it started there, but again, TikTok really started there. Before it was TikTok, when it was Musical.ly and what I mean. Like, a lot of it came from those spaces, and so now it's concerning what's happening to the quality of like film that we get, and us being concerned about whether or not it makes sense to go to the movies versus just wait for it to hit streaming, you know what I mean, or whatever. But now if you don't even have the right, like the people who would have at least written the stuff that might get you to go to the theater or to go to a regular streaming service, they're taking their talents and they're going over to something like this where they can make money. That doesn't mean that there won't be talent that's young and new and is up and coming and is very good. That'll get brought in, but it means that they won't pay them like they paid veterans because they don't have the chops, right? They don't have, so you can bring them in, and if that happens to those people, they're gonna take that talent and they're gonna move it somewhere else, like this, where they can get paid and kind of do things on their own. One of the things that we discussed, hold on. So Zane said, I seen so much Grey's Anatomy and Chicago PD and all those types of shows all on TikTok, and it satisfies that craving. Like, I just need those moments. Just give me the little piece and what happens. If you think about
Grey's Anatomy one.
I think part of what's happened is we've always kind of had that short attention span that we talk about. It's not brand new. What has happened is that over the last like 10 to 15 years, we've started to get used to streaming, and we have enjoyed the beauty of not having commercials interrupt our viewing. So if we want to watch an episode of something, we can just watch it straight through 22 minutes, right? But traditionally, we have been used to having our viewing broken up in like 8-minute chunks. And then you get a set of commercials. And then you get another 8 minutes. And TV used to be written that way. They would write it, and you would know exactly when a commercial break is coming, because literally the way the show was written, this thing would happen, and you could tell a cut's coming. It's almost time for a commercial. And then they would come back after the commercial and sometimes even like replay a little bit.
That last little beat,
before they go. Like, we've almost always been in phases where we were used to having the stuff that we were watching long term broken up, unless we went to the movies or we rented a movie, right? And even then, we had control. You would go and rent a movie, you bring it in, plop your tape in or whatever, and you pause it when you're ready to go to the bathroom or go get something to eat or whatever. And we lived in enjoyment of the fact that we had control over it, and if we needed to get up and go to the bathroom or wanted to get something to eat, we weren't going to miss anything when that was happening. So that idea of people being like, everybody's attention, it's much shorter now by comparison, right? But the way that we consume has almost always been that way. It's always been that what we're watching has been broken up into chunks, even if we were watching the same story. So generally even a 22-minute half hour show that's 22 minutes was broken up into 3 acts. You know what I mean? So it was easier for us to digest. And that's what's happening here. You know what I mean? Like it is, yep, we have gotten to the point where we stream so much and we'll just binge episode after episode after episode for hours that I think that there's that the drawback has been, well, now we need something that's even shorter than that because we have trained ourselves to be excited about being able to watch 10 episodes straight. Flip side of that is I'm still going to spend 2 hours doing it, but I'm just watching stuff that's only 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 60 seconds, whatever it is, right? So it's that push and pull. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with apps like these and whether or not, you know, there's talk of apps like this making their way to TV, right? And not just being on your phone, but having those apps on, you know, again, it's in the Play Store, it's in the App Store. So there probably are people who are already watching that kind of stuff on their Apple TV, you know what I mean, on their Chromecast and stuff like that, and just running it on their TVs anyway. So causing a disruption in the way that Hollywood operates. And studios are suffering for it. And if I had to wager, what's probably going to happen is major studios are going to start to buy companies like this and start trying to do their stuff on those apps. They may keep some of the stuff that's already there and keep some of the actors that are already there. People start to get to know who they are and keep some of those writers. But those writers that are running away from the Hollywood studios, those studios are going to take that money they do have and they're going to try to buy these apps up. Either to get rid of them or to have ownership
and use them.
Platform. You know what I mean? To again, it's making a lot. $1 million a day is that's like, I mean, it's not quite like Clash of Clans money, but it's in there. Andrew says, I remember switching to different channels during commercials and going back and forth. 100%. 100%. Especially once remote controls became a thing. Again, like there was a time
that last channel button. Last channel was a winner.
What?
Last channel, and then if you add a little time, you got picture in the picture, and you could just have them those going at the same time.
Monday Night Wars jokes.
We've always had those kind of attention span issues. Like cable gave us so many channels all at one time. We would get frozen. Just try act like you ain't never get stuck on a channel that just shows you what's coming on. You just scroll and then you always miss the time slot you was looking for. You gotta wait to roll all the way back through. You just you just in there grooving to the little music they playing.
You can do,
by heart, you know, whatever, and just it's we've always kind of had that. It's really not new, technically, right? We would just swap back and forth, and they would break it up for us, and that's kind of been, you know, what it is. So they've gotten my money because I can't stand advertisements. So I pay for YouTube Premium because I don't want no ads. I'm just trying to watch what I'm watching, but a lot of what I'm watching is short form anyway. You know what I mean? And I still have control. I can pause it, come back. Nothing worse than watching an hour-long video on YouTube, pausing it, and then when you come back, you got to watch an ad before you can get started again. Ludicrous, dog. It's ludicrous.
Grind your gears, don't it?
What? I literally just be like, oh, I'm not watching this. I had to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not doing it. All right, cool. Listen, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kind of take a minute, step back, breathe a little bit. It's our last show of May for Loading Snacks Weekly. And we haven't really talked at all about Mental Health Awareness Month, which is what this month is. We have touched a little bit on just, you know, kind of how the stuff that we do, the stuff that we talk about here, a lot of times does help us, you know, with a lot of that kind of stuff. But I just kind of want to take some time and give some space for us to talk about specifically, I think, our comfort foods. You know, in a post COVID world, we have spent a lot more time, I think, focused on talking about the importance of our mental health and checking on each other and talking to each other and that kind of thing. Um, I think that as that time has gotten further away, what's up, Sam? As we've gotten further away from what COVID was and what it felt like, I feel like we have also gotten further away from doing that as often as we used to, and just kind of making sure that we're checking on each other and talking to each other and so forth. Um, with that said, that isn't exactly what this segment is about, but it is about us talking about how our pop culture really kind of does help us, I think, with our mental health and kind of getting into some of that. So what I want to do is I want to take some time to talk to the two of you. I want to start with talking about what are your comfort foods. Like when you feel like you need a mental break, whether it's you had a bad day at work and you come home and like even on the drive home from work, you like, as soon as I get in the house, this is what I'm gonna do. Or, whatever it is. Like for the things that you consider your pop culture comfort food, what are your go-tos? I'm gonna start with you, Jokes. What are your go-to pop culture comfort foods?
Um, I think one of the main ones that I have when I just want to kind of, just zone out and kind of be to myself is building like my Gundam model kits. Like I think that's
Okay.
one of those that you can kind of you can zone out where it's like, hey, maybe I'll have the TV playing in the background, but my main focus is really just assembling parts, putting on decals, cutting things out. Like it's just it's just something about that for me is just soothing and it's calming about it.
Yeah.
Um and it doesn't have to be like I have super easy kits to put together and I have super difficult ones to put together. It doesn't really make a difference to me as long as like I'm in here and I'm just building.
Yeah.
Um I have kits downstairs that I haven't assembled yet, but I have ones that will literally take me maybe like an hour to build because they're just simple when it comes time for doing it. Then I probably have one that'll probably take me like like a week to put together, but it's kind
Okay.
of like that coming back and putting the pieces together. You know what? I'm good now. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna go do something else. I'm gonna go ahead and take on the next thing. But I think for me, that's one of those soothing things that I love to do.
How did you how did you come across that? Did you build other things before you found? I know that you're a fan of Gundam, you know what I mean? And so I get that, but like
Mm,
there are a lot of people I know who really like Gundam, but
mm,
aren't like I want to build a kit. You know what I mean?
type
Or
of thing.
yeah.
I would say before Gundam, I would say I was into Legos, but
Okay.
I think my biggest thing was I was into Connects.
Okay.
Connects was one of my huge things that I love to do. Like my mom bought me like they had same concept. They had small things that you could build. They had the gigantic things to build. Eventually, there was a roller coaster one, and
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't like a small type of thing.
Right.
But boy, when I tell you, when I got that, it was a whole different beast. Seeing the tracks and putting the like the cabling stuff so the roller coaster be able to go up there, whole different thing. But I was thinking Connects was my thing at a younger age before getting exposed into the Gundam model kit
I
territory.
did that. What You may not be able to answer this, but
Mm,
what specifically makes it a comfort food for you? Not, I know you said like, there's just something
mhm,
about putting something together or whatever, but like, there's probably also just something about being in a first person shooter and whatever, or
mhm.
being in a role playing game and seeing my level go up or whatever. What is it? What is it that you find comforting in doing
And
that?
doing
Is it the activity itself? Is it because of what it forces you to do, you're able to cut off the outside world? Is it that it satisfies multiple things for you at one time? The idea of completion, finding the smaller parts, looking for all the bits, having music playing in the background because you like music. Like, what is it that you think really does comfort you?
I think, like you said, it's kind of. I think it's hard to pick one box on that one
Yeah.
because it's like when it comes time for building one of those kits, it's kind of like, you know what, everything else is just off the table. Like I'm sitting here, I have kit, I have like all the tools that I need, and then once you get in, it just separates you from everything.
Mm.
Um, Normally I'll put like say I'll put something on that I've probably seen 100,000 times on the TV, so it's just running to have that sound in the background.
Background
Um,
noise. Yeah.
but I think it's just I don't know, I think it stimulates the mind when you're going through here and trying to
Mm.
figure out putting certain parts together. Um, it's like, I want to make sure that, I feel like it can almost be like a test at times as too, because when you're doing them, it's like, listen, I don't want to mess up. I want to go through. I want to build this thing perfectly the first time through.
Yeah.
Because hey, listen, there has gotten to those moments where I may have put a wrong piece together, but you didn't get until like 20 minutes later. You're like, oh wait, that arm is going the wrong way,
Now you got to go
and then you
back and
got to go
undo
back
it.
and do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and sometimes even with that, don't get me wrong, there'll be some words that come out your mouth, but then it's like
Yeah.
the taking things back apart and then going and doing it again. It's still that same type of feeling even when you have to do that for it. So
Yeah.
it's just I think it just puts you in a different zone. I think it's probably the
Is
difference
it
is the easy way.
is it one of those things that like how long have you went? How old were you think when you got your first Gundam kit? Like, is it a
Tsunami.
comfort thing
I could
because
say Toonami. That's probably the easiest way because if it wasn't for Gundam Wing, because Gundam Wing was that intro into it. So I would say that was probably early 2000s. I would say
yeah?
is when that probably kicked in for me. Actually,
So some of it could be a nostalgia that makes
mhm.
it like a comforting thing for you, like going back to something when you were younger and kind
And
of it
it's hard to even
reminding
say that
you
because
of
never. I wouldn't necessarily say it's nostalgia because you know what, I never got out of it. Sometimes with nostalgia, maybe
sure,
you haven't watched it, you haven't been a part of it, and you go back to it. That's one of those
yeah,
things
but
that
like you've never stopped liking Power Ranger, but like there's definitely a nostalgia for
nostalgia.
you in like watching something or doing something that's related to Power Rangers now, like that new Power Rangers game that came out
Hmm.
that I would have bought if you told me it was really good. Um, that I would think still reminds you. It
Hmm.
takes you back to like when you first fell in love with Power
Yeah.
Rangers, and you remember the fact that it's an important thing to you. So, like, if you're building a kit now, like it might
Hmm.
be comforting to you because it reminds you of having done it when you were younger, or maybe the first one that you got, or maybe it even reminds you of Connects and that first
Okay.
roller coaster in some way, and you're kind of going back to that. Mentally, you're not necessarily thinking about that directly, but you're in that
Hmm.
same mind space. And sometimes I think being in that mind space from when you were younger and things were innocent and you didn't have the same kind of stresses and worries and stuff like that, I think that like doing something that allows you to be in that space and you're not thinking about all the other things is a lot of what can be comforting because it's taking you
Hmm.
mentally back there without you having to think about being
Think
back
about.
there. You're doing something that puts your mind in the same space you were in the first time you built a kit and the second time you built a kit and whatever. What about you, Sin? Like, what is a comfort food activity, whatever that like when it's just like today's been a day, and the way I'm gonna cap this off is, you know,
Specific games can do it. Something more exploratory, kind of open world like, but I don't have to use all the factors in my brain. Like I'm just gonna go run and hunt down this today. I don't have to think about doing everything else in this game. We just kind of get lost in it and just do that. So games like that definitely help. Like you told me about this yourself, a test drive Solar Crown. I picked that up and just driving around the streets, like just checking out the city, seeing what's going on, like that. Stuff like that is perfect for that. Like, I'm just gonna drive. I'll worry about these icons later. Let me just go. Just go down here, go do a race in this area. I've never been in this area before. Like just stuff like that. That works.
Go
I
find
have
the little hidden cars or whatever. Like you
yeah,
start
stuff like that.
driving,
Yeah,
you hear that little beep, and you just like, I know it's a car
yeah,
around here
something
somewhere.
around here. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. There's specific animes that are definitely like that type of food to me. Whatever. Like Robotech is one of them. At least once every year and a half to 2 years, I usually go back and rewatch the Macross Saga. That's just one that just brings everything down to zero and just sit back,
Mhm.
relax, just enjoy it. The music, the style of art, and all that kind of stuff just really does. I have a few of those anime ones, like the original run of Ramdas, like the first 3 seasons are like that for me, stuff like that. And newer, what has happened is probably I don't get to watch as much as I used to because we're doing all sorts of different stuff. But American TV shows, but they got to follow like a specific format. Like SWAT right now, I don't know what about it. It's just doing it for me right now. I can just cut that on and just
Yeah.
relax, and just watch it or whatever, or something like Chicago PD or Chicago Fire, or Good
That,
Doctor,
yeah.
stuff in those kind of formats. I can put it in and I can just relax, turn off my brain. The creativity side with the stories can still be moving, but I can sit and just turn on and have it. Whether I've seen the seasons before or not, or I'm going to a new season I've never seen before, something like that. Or like
Yeah.
SWAT right now. I've never seen another SWAT, and I'm on season 2. Just I have Netflix on, just doing stuff over here. Like, who got shot? Okay, yeah, run that back. Okay, like just and it just for some reason American TV helps way more than like anime or movies and anything like that. It just
Yeah.
does, and
Yeah.
that works. Since I haven't been able to watch, like I said, so many of that stuff lately. There's seasons I'm behind on. So I'm like, you know what? Let me start. What I need to
Try it.
take it down, cut off the anime, cut off the gaming, just put on the last season of whatever they haven't gotten to yet. Put that on, just not think about that stuff for a second. Just watch that. That actually has been helping lately.
Something that isn't something that we have to end up working on. That
Yes.
we are not like, all right, I gotta watch this, but I gotta pay attention a certain way because I know we're gonna have to have a conversation about it. We gotta
Yeah.
and we gotta whatever, right? Like kind of that idea of taking something that we love doing and we really enjoy, but turning it into work in some format can make it so that like things that we kind of maybe know we're not necessarily gonna have to talk about, or we're not necessarily gonna like. We might bring it up like down the road. Yo, I don't know if you've seen such and such, but that kind of frees you a bit to be able to just be like, I'm just gonna go do something that that's not even on the, you know. Um, for me, so here's the thing. Even though we don't always cover and talk about everything, for us, part of our mantra, all things geek, right? And so what that really means for us is that whatever you're a geek about, we can really get into, right? And we all, in one way or another, are geeks about music.
Yes.
I love music. I love performing. I love performance. I kind of love all that kind of stuff. And so, like, karaoke for a long time was like a comfort. Like, I just go every couple weeks, just go see a bunch of people or whatever, jump up, knock out a couple songs or something like that. Or like, I haven't been technically in months, but through just doing what we're doing, conventions, something like that, somebody's had karaoke or something like that, and so I might, jump up and do something. But I haven't like been for the sake of going to karaoke and just kind of seeing people that I know from being there or whatever. Even if I go and I don't sing or something like that, sometimes just being in a different atmosphere, doing something different in a different place can be a good way to kind of clear. You know what I mean? There's any number of amounts of mashugana going on in my head at any given time, and video games is good, but like I think I always default to music. It might be that even if I'm doing something else, whether I'm cleaning or packing or whatever, putting on music and letting it ride in the background, kind of getting into a mood that is like, all right, we're doing 90s very murderous hip hop today. Sometimes that's so necessary, right? And it kind of just helps to clear things out. You think about maybe what you were doing when this song came out, or where I was when, I heard this the first time, or oh, I remember when so and so put out a remix, or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Oh man, I wonder what happened to that artist. I haven't heard anything from them. It's
That's
just
me and my
like,
brother say each other all the time. Hey, whatever happened to Chingy? Stuff like that, and I'll send him something
yeah,
like,
Woo!
he running the desk at CVS, like stuff like that, like so.
yeah, he over there doing something
Yeah,
in the CVS.
yeah.
He right there
We do
doing
that all the
something
time.
in the CVS.
Right there.
Yeah. Um, but I also think that for me, oddly enough, comfort food is doing something new. It's doing something that like I haven't done yet
Yeah.
or before, which for a lot of people is like anxiety inducing. And depending on what it is, it could be, you know what I mean, for me too. But there is something that I find exhilarating about experiencing something new, right? That like, man, that was cool. I haven't done that before. Or even if I didn't like it, like that's not really my thing. And like I know what I like and what I don't like. So doing something a little bit different, maybe watching something I wouldn't normally,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Something that's in a genre I wouldn't normally pay attention to. Like I've been mostly recently exploring a lot of new music, a lot of new artists that people have never heard of, music from other countries where I don't understand anything they're saying, a lot of
Dope.
French, a lot of Brazilian music, a lot of like just like people just Portuguese, whatever. And I'm just like, this joint is
I just
what?
started following listening to this dude on TikTok. I found just dude just singing soul, just crushing. Like, okay, yeah,
Yeah, it's just like specifically in some cases allowing the algorithm to correctly dictate you'll probably like this. You know what I mean? And like
hmm
Mm-hmm.
allowing myself to be kind of trusting of that. Um, has there ever been a time for you? Again, I'll go back to you jokes when something like building a Gundam, like that comfort food, has it ever not worked for you? Have you ever had a day where you're like, you know what, today's a day, or like I'm off on Saturday and Saturday I'm building Gundam. Have you ever had a time where like you start building it, you just like this just ain't working, I just need to go do something else, and you stop maybe mid build or whatever? Has it ever not worked for you?
I feel like there's probably been a point, like maybe I've done it, but then either something came up and I had to step away. I'm not sure. Like I wouldn't say, or maybe it's I've started doing, and once I've finished a part, maybe it's just like, you know what, I've hit this wall right now. You know what, I'm good. I built the leg. I'm good. I'm just gonna step off now from it. I feel like maybe more that's probably happened to me than anything else.
Yeah.
But I don't think nothing has fully like derailed me from going to it. I feel like I've just gotten to maybe I wouldn't have spent as much time as I normally could be
Okay.
sitting there and like almost build a kit to completion. But I feel
Yeah.
like I've just gotten to a point and he's like, you know what? I'm good. Let me just go ahead and step away now.
Okay. I mean, I think that's good. What about you, Sam? You ever like come home and pick that game and you start and you're like, this ain't doing it, and switch to another game, or like, you know what, I'm gonna
absolutely,
watch anime? Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. That has happened plenty of times. I'll sit down, like I used to play a game and start something, and it's just not hitting, and then I just got to tell myself, can't force it, put it down.
Yeah.
This ain't the one, and go find whatever the medium that I'm looking for to get
Mhm.
that what I'm what I'm looking for. If it's not that,
Yeah.
fine, cut it off. Go bring up Plex and just it's like, but the things like I can feel it, like it's somewhere. I know it's somewhere. I just gotta find it. Boot up
It's in there.
Netflix. Yeah, like it's somewhere around here, but I don't know where it is yet. But I can feel it somewhere around here, and it might take
Yeah.
heck an hour or two
Oh,
sometimes. Yeah,
yeah.
I have on a not a playlist, but like a podcast, whatever. Just
Podcast.
playing it. Yeah, just playing off my phone or like on the computer, or something, and I'm just going through my game catalog or whatever on the Xbox. Like I want
Yeah.
to play something, but I don't want to play that game. What am I
Mhm.
looking for? Whatever. Just
Mhm.
yeah, takes a little minute, but I usually find it. Whatever it is.
Okay. Um, you ever get started and like once you have you ever not been able to find it? Like and just like it had to, all right, I've been scrolling. All right, I started this, it's not working. I stopped. I've been scrolling for an hour.
No, I find it.
Not good.
I don't give up until I find it.
You
Yeah,
don't stop
because
until
I know I can feel like it's there, whatever it is. I just don't know where it is, but I can feel that it's here somewhere.
is there something comforting in that search? in like looking for and then
It is.
finding that thing and like
It
hitting
is.
that jackpot? Does it feel like a certain sense of accomplishment? Like
It does. It does.
I knew it was here.
Yeah, because I know like I can feel like it's somewhere on Netflix or something. I don't know. I just gotta keep, and I just won't give up until I find it. I'll just keep scrolling, be listening to whatever, and then when it finally hits, oh, perfect. Let me heat up my food now, or go get what I was looking for and sit down and watch this or play this or whatever. Yeah.
Jokes, is there like a movie that no matter what, like no matter how you were feeling, if you were in that rut, you couldn't find that thing that like, I put this on, I'm gonna be good. Like I'm gonna be fine no matter what. Like one of those things that like if you were scrolling past and it was on, you're not turning from it. You can't help it. Before you answer that, Andrew says, "Thank you three for being a comfortable place to forget about problems on Tuesday, especially the day a co-worker was threatening me today." Listen, Andrew, I am sorry about that. One, that should never happen. Two, again, I'm glad that we're here for you Tuesday. And technically, you can listen to us whenever you want. There's a lot of episodes, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm being so serious about that. Like, man, if there are episodes or if there's something that we do that is gonna help you through whatever, and it's a day that isn't a Tuesday, where you maybe not gonna get something new, man. Feel free. And truthfully, you can always, again, I won't speak for Jokes and Slim, but you can always hit me on Instagram, shoot me a DM, something like that.
Same.
You need to talk or something like that. Like, just feel free for sure. Again, I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm glad you're here with us now and everything's cool. Jokes, you got that movie? Is there a movie? Is there like a show that you're just like,
I would say actually there's a show, movie. It's not just anything that Will Ferrell comes on. If it's on TV, I will not turn it off.
Okay.
I know. Okay. Listen, Step Brothers, Anchorman, like you name any of those, I will not turn it off. Show.
What's that? What's the basketball joint with him and
semi-pro?
Semi-pro. That joint, dog.
The love to sexy.
No, dog. I don't listen. I don't really like Will Ferrell movies, so I can't. He got a couple. Step Brothers is one of them ones, but that's okay. So like, if you and you know why, but like, but
all on this
so like, you're having whatever that day is. Exactly.
Disrespectful.
You come home, throw on semi-pro. You're good. You're going into a good mood. You're gonna be all right. That's
show.
The drum.
Super easy. Law and Order. Like, I don't
really, dog.
Listen, Law and Order. Come on.
It
don't matter. And listen, it don't matter what season, what episode. Like, when that is on, I will sit and I will just because most of the time when they show Law and Order, it's always in the block of like 4 or 5 episodes at a time, and I will just sit and let it go.
You just let it rock. All right, Sam.
I'm not going to mention any anime ones. I'm going to keep it to live action real people. But Big Trouble in Little China. Come on, that's one of the big ones right there. Oh. Big Trouble in Little China. That thing could be on, and I will stop and watch that thing. Yes, just good memories, classics, hilarious. Probably Bad Boys 1, 2 as well.
Ooh.
Love me some Bad Boys 1. Oh, there was a point I could recite it backwards and frontwards, all of it.
I do believe that. I do believe that.
Yeah. TV shows, I would say Arrowverse, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes.
You just could get in wherever. Arrowverse over Flash.
When I say Arrowverse, I mean the entire Arrowverse. I do in order. I start with episode 1 of Arrow, and I go to Flash gets introduced, and I switch over and start doing both back to back. I go all the way up till our ending, and what we consider the ending of it.
You don't get the two.
Nice, at least, man. Yeah.
I think, bro, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what kind of day it was, if I walk in the house and I put on the Road to El Dorado, everything else is over, bro. It's that joint and the Emperor's New Groove, bruh.
So,
Cuddy said, "I'll take a commercial from Talladega Nights is fire." No argument. If that's listen, if Cuddy, if you had a bad day at work and you come
Never
home,
seen Talladega Nights.
you never seen Talladega Nights, sir?
Hey, don't.
Fix
Hey, remember, I was out of the movie game for a very long time.
hey, fix yourself. Because listen, Michael Clark Duncan in that joint, him, Will Ferrell. I don't
Again,
want. Hey, there are some moments in that joint.
I'm not a Will Ferrell guy, bro, but like he does have some bangers. Like there's nothing about his joints that like I'm not coming in and putting on a Will Ferrell joint ever.
Mhm.
But if it's on, I might go
I'm
ahead and
gonna
let
rock.
that. Yeah, like an Adam Sandler joint. I'll put an Adam Sandler joint on in a heartbeat over a Will Ferrell joint, easy. I'm Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, all day before but that's like, yeah, nah, dog. Road to El Dorado.
Mhm.
It's great music. It's great animation. It's stupid hilarious. Very adult. Very unassumingly adult. Yeah, it's good. Like that whole joint, it just feels good to watch that joint, to listen to it. I could have that joint on in the background. Same thing with Emperor's New Groove. It's like I think probably the most underrated Disney joint ever. Like ever. Like it's one of them joints people don't. It's an animated Disney film that doesn't have a princess.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it doesn't hit.
Gotcha.
Like, but I'm gonna tell you what, bro. That joint it's gold, bro. It's comedy gold. Ease was one of the greatest villains ever made, and Kronk is an idiot, bro. And that joint, it makes me smile, bro. All right, look. I don't really want to dwell on this much longer. I do want to say that I think it's important, again, for us to kind of make sure we don't let go of the way that we looked out for and took care of each other a couple of years ago. Just because things seem like they're not as bad, like it doesn't feel like the world's coming to an end, even though it kind of feels like the world's coming to an end.
Right.
It's not exactly the same thing. And that fear of being locked away and like being away from people and not being able to commune with people and stuff like that isn't really in existence now. I think that kind of, again, forced our hands take a step back and look at things a little bit differently. I do want to take a moment to make a correction that I feel like we need to make in terms of the way we look at a lot of this. So oftentimes you'll hear people say, and you've definitely heard us say, I'm pretty sure it was said last week, that like we use these things, video games and movies, TV shows, Lego, whatever it is, we use them as an escape. And I think that is not the right way to actually look at it. Because when you're trying to escape your reality, you are intending to never come back to reality. And I think that what that does is that puts you in a place where you become reliant on those things in order to stay away from the reality of what it is. And you can't, it's still there, right? It's still important that we learn to make a distinction between having things like this that are a distraction, but not necessarily an escape. We often need that distraction. Hey, not having a good day today. I'm not in the best frame of mind. I need a distraction to kind of get me back, whatever. I know that when I get done playing this game for an hour, or watching this movie for an hour and a half, or binging 3 hours of this show, that whatever it is that's on my mind or whatever the thing that might be stressing me out is still going to be there. And you're not looking for something that is going to make it go away or replace it, because that's not how this works.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go down the path of escapism, you tend to lean more in that way, right? And so but knowing that we're going into it and being able to say, I need a distraction right now, instead of saying to yourself, I'm looking for an escape right now. I need a distraction. When you escape from something, you intend to never go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think that there is something important about the way that we say things and the way that we talk about things, and how that affects the way we view them and use them mentally and for our mental health. And so I do think that it's important that we kind of work on our language and work on the way that we talk about them, and say that we are happy to be a distraction
Mm-hmm.
for anybody who's going through something on their Tuesday night, right? Or, what have you. And we are happy to find and have distractions. Sometimes it literally is just looking at the artwork that I have, like going through. We've accumulated so much stuff over the years of doing stuff like this and going to conventions, that I have artwork that I just can't put up on the walls. And sometimes it really is nice to just pull out piles of artwork and just go through it. It's almost like going through my old comic books and going through, like, again, kind of like feeding that nostalgia, getting that piece of your brain back. Man, I remember this. Oh, this joint is so dope. I should take something else down and put something else up, or just whatever it is. But when you get done with that pile, you're not likely to start that pile over again, at least not right then. And so it's been a good distraction. But now I got to go and finish taking care of business, or I got to go do what I got to do, whatever it is. And so, as a long time, really, really professional procrastinator, I will tell you that distractions are key. That it actually takes me, I need distractions in order to get things done sometimes. I know that when I start a project, if I'm editing something, if I'm doing whatever, the idea of sitting and just kind of powering straight through it does not work for me. I know I need a distraction. I know I'm going to spend 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour working on this, and it's going to take me longer than that. I got to do something. I'm going to get up and take a walk. I'm going to go do something else, whatever. I'm going to go play a game for 15 minutes, do one run in something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm coming back to get done what it is that I got to work on, right? Like, distractions are an important part of me being able to complete things, to get things done,
Mm-hmm.
and to work on things. And like knowing those kinds of things about yourself and how you might be able to help yourself to do whatever it is, I think is also important. So I kind of want to leave you all with the idea of thinking about these kinds of things, this stuff that we love, as distractions and not escapes, and kind of reframing your mind around using the words differently, because I think then you think about it differently, and I think that that's more healthy. It can be very unhealthy to use these things to escape versus using these things as a distraction. And so that's what I want to leave you with. Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
There is always wrestling happening. It is borderline annoying. There was wrestling this weekend, right? There was something that happened this weekend.
We had Saturday night main event that just passed.
Mhm.
I almost called that the Saturday Night Slam Masters, which is a game.
Fire.
But whatever. Fire. That joint's like
That just passed. This week actually is just a stand. I know this was it's a normal week, so just the regular shows. But next week we get into the next biggest WWE's PLE with Money in the Bank.
Yes.
So definitely some stuff that me and Marcus are gonna formulate to put up for that. Outside of that, actually, yeah, just Money in the Bank. And then over the next coming weeks, we are seeing AEW and WWE are starting to do their head-to-head. They're starting to schedule their shows, or someone is combating them now.
They did that last
So
weekend.
they did, and it's coming again, because the same weekend that Double or Nothing is,
Double or
WWE
Nothing?
has
You mean All
announced. No, it's both.
Double or Nothing was Sunday.
Oh, yeah, because All In.
That's what I just said.
WWE is planning to run, I believe it's 2 shows on the same day. So we're starting to see the competing side of things starting to heat up. So
I think it's Evolve they're running that day. Oh, that's gonna suck because I need to see both of those.
I mean, again, streaming services, buddy.
Streaming services, you still one's on the computer, one's on the TV.
That's okay. Yep. It's diabolical. Sincere.
Yes, sir.
There is always anime happening.
Always.
Anime awards just happened. What's going on?
We talked about it. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing we talked about. The winners and losers. We're getting to all that, how we feel about it. And outside of that, we also discussed different levels of fandom in anime and kind of like where we might fall at. And it can like the new people getting into it and the vets like us can kind of like we work together and coincide and not be toxic to each other and all that kind of stuff. So
absolutely not.
Who knows?
Nah,
but good conversations overall. But yeah, we do get into the nominees and the award winners and stuff like that and see how we feel about them. So good stuff overall.
I dig it. This weekend, we are at Big Lick Comic-Con at the Dulles Expo Center.
Mm-hmm.
We are hosting. Last week when we talked about it, it was like, I don't really know what we're doing. I just know we're going to be there and we're hosting some panels. Now we actually have a schedule. What I will tell you is that we are doing a podcast. On Sunday, we're doing like a podcast roundtable with Ming Chen. On Saturday, we are hosting the panel for Lou Ferrigno, the original.
Hulk.
That's right. That's David Banner.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Cookie letter I.
Hey. Facts. Yeah, we've been I'm gonna say very fortunate to have been given the opportunity to jump in and spend some time and do some panels, stuff like that. Other than that, like we'll be running around and kind of doing what we normally do. We'll be talking to people and we have snacks.
Oh
boy, do we have snacks. So we will definitely be having snacks. So if you see us, try to catch us before the snacks are gone. Yeah, we are also hosting a cosplay conversation, which I'm going to be honest, I don't know who is on that panel with us or not. We'll figure it out. We'll find. We are going to have a great time. There's a lot of really good guests there. So if you're local, if you're in the area and you can get out to Dulles, to the Expo Center this weekend, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend go to it's blccnova.com. But if you just search Big Lick Comic-Con Nova, they have started selling tickets already for their next convention, which is in Roanoke in August. So don't go to the website for Roanoke and buy tickets for that by accident.
Make sure it's Nova.
The one in Nova for this weekend. But yeah, by all means, tickets are not super expensive. I highly recommend coming out and just kind of having a good time and hanging out with like-minded people and seeing some really cool folks. Billy West is there. It's a lot of people. There's a Power Rangers reunion that's happening. Baldur's Gate 3 reunion with the voice actors is happening there. There's a lot that's going on, so it's gonna be really cool. So definitely come out, support, and if you see us, say hi, get a snack, right, jokes?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Outside of that, I think we can wrap the show. Do you feel good about wrapping the show, Sam?
Absolutely.
Joe, you feel good about wrapping the show?
Feel good with wrapping the show.
Then tell the people what I need them to hear.
Remember, y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we are out. Toodles and doodles.
Loading snacks.